Hello and very warm welcome to you all. And yeah, I've been looking forward to it all day actually. Been really looking forward to doing this stream with you. I'm going to go through the top 10 e-ink devices that, as I see them right now. They're ones that I've tried out. I'm really interested by this comment here and all your comments in the chat, please. And that will just help me shape the content as we go through it tonight. Popley says, convince me more about these type of devices that I should buy this or something like a Samsung Tab S9. That's a comparison that I've had in mind for some time. And one thing I'm going to talk about actually is my Samsung phone versus them later on in the stream tonight. So without much further ado, I'm going to go through the top 10. And you can feel free to fire in with any questions about them if you like. I kind of know what you're thinking, and welcome if you're watching on the replay, but avoid the temptation just to skip straight to the very last one, kind of earn your earn your release of finding out what the final one, the number one is, in my opinion now. And if you do want to skip there, then do me a big favor and make sure that you have liked or maybe even shared out this somewhere where you share information and discuss information about e-ink tablets, because the more that is done, the more that this channel does spread to more people, and that's really, really very, very helpful. So without further ado, right, what's in at number 10? Number 10 is probably the hardest one to decide, actually. I think because I've tried out some devices and I've tried out quite a few actually in my time. It's very difficult to pick which one is number 10, and I've only put devices that I've actually tried in here. So number 10 for me currently is this one. This is the Bigme Inknote. I've got the Bigme Inknote Color Light. And, 10 is still a good position. I think there are other things that could have occupied this one in my kind of repertoire. There's no place, for instance, for the Lenovo tablet in here because, well, that's well documented that it's just not something that I would recommend at all. But there's nothing massively wrong with this device. There isn't much that's actually wrong with it. It does have a place in some workflows. The advantages over books, though, are limited. Maybe the fact that it's got double cameras might suit you. But Bigme are still one to watch, though. I would stress that. It's very interesting that they seem to have quite a lot of power in the industry. They seem to be developing things quite quickly, but I think their software is just kind of holding them back, really. And it's just not as polished, even as books is. And books I wouldn't describe as being an incredibly polished software experience. But they've got some things really right here. They've got good tech. They've got good specs on here. They've got the Kaleido free screen. There's not a lot to really shy away from. There are some good things about it. They've tried to go for this kind of AI color experience, and saying, like everyone is at the minute, we've got AI built in, meaning that we've got some kind of ChatGPT integrations, or GPT, I should say, integrations. And, well, I'm a little bit skeptical. You could write your own essays and cheat on this if you wanted to. But as I say, they want to watch them, and perhaps we'll see them come out with like a more mature design. This is still imitating another device in this list's kind of design at the minute. Perhaps we'll see better software design from them. And they have responded to some of the criticisms, and they have improved things as they've been going on. So it's not a kind of standstill, and there are updates. I've just updated this, and there's bug fixes and things like that. What's really interesting for me, what I hope they're going to bring soon, is the PC, the e-ink PC B251, which should have started shipping by now. Actually, it was due to start shipping December 23 or January 24. And I haven't heard anything about, I haven't seen any of them arriving for anyone talking about them. We're still looking at the kind of mocked up images on the screen rather than real videos of the real color e-ink in action. So I don't know about that e-ink PC. I'm really hopeful. The other thing to say about Bigme is they're generally a little bit cheaper than the other the other devices that are out there in a similar kind of specification. I just say hello to a few more folks. Very warm welcome to you all. Yeah, I hope so as well, Tony. Let me know if you know what you're going to get by the end of this. And hello from Greece. Hello to you all. And also the next top 10 hair products to achieve your volume and shine. Do nothing with it. Nothing at all now. Nothing at all. No, I'm just sweating. My hairdresser will be very pleased to see that kind of comments there. So the next one in at number 9 is this. It's the Kobo Ellipsa 2E. I think this is really good, actually. If you're looking for a device which is a read first and make notes second, then this is actually a good option. If you're someone who's already in the Kobo ecosystem, at least you don't have to leave it to get a good e-ink tablet now. And I think that there's something to be said for that. It's a good, solid device. It's, you know, slightly older screen when we compare it to like the Kindle Scribe, for instance, but it's a good reader, and I really enjoyed having it as my planner because I could just dive into books all of the time. But the note taking does leave a little to be desired. You've just maybe seen me reach for the pen because I had to make sure the pen was charged. There's a pen that needs charged. It isn't bad, but if I draw some like slow lines, can you see there's quite a bit of jitter in there? And it just doesn't feel as good. It does have a button and it does have an eraser. So it's got, you know, it's got some really good things about it. It just doesn't have that kind of same kind of feel. It still has a place in my thinking, though, purely because it is such a pleasant place to read. And having something with you which focuses on reading with you all the time, and you can also keep your professional notes on, I think that's a good thing about it. It encourages that habit of reading. And I'm really trying to get into that habit of reading in 2024. That's my kind of motto at the minute, is read more in 2024, 104 in 2024. And yeah, you let me know if there's any recommendations for me to read as we go through. There's also a link in there of everything I have been reading so far. That's my plan. And this would have been a good companion of that. But some of the devices that I'm going to come on later are also very good companions for reading. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend it over those just for reading. It's a good place to read, though. If only they'd chosen the Wacom stylus tech and improved that side of their software, improved that writing side. They do have the advanced notebook side, which is very good. But at the minute, it's a really nicely designed tablet that could have been higher in this list. Probably if it had a Wacom pen, it could have been higher up in this list. So I'm not sure exactly where, but it could have been. Yeah, good evening to you all as well. Thank you very much. Has there been any information on the Kobo 2024 devices? I haven't been privy to anything just yet, but that'd be interesting to see what they come up with this year. Thinking about an ink tablet for 2+ years now, find it hard to take the first step. The first step is probably in this list somewhere. And if you listen out to what I say, that's just fantastic value. That's probably, if you are really sitting on the fence, Raphael, then the first step is probably thinking, yeah, battery life, screen fluidity, large screen. It will tick all those things and it won't be very expensive. So listen out for that. Good evening to you all. Has it been known when the Supernote A6X2 will start being made available? Yeah, we're looking at April, March sort of time is when they're sort of saying there. I've used the Supernote A5X for about 40 months. Changed the film to Filmwrite 2. Yeah, we're good. And I sold it to Buy the Remarkable 2, so I love it most. Oh, great. It is very, very attractive. And actually, I'll bit of a spoiler now, we're at number 8, and we've got the Remarkable 2 here. But Lefter says, I did love the Supernote. Yeah, a lot to be desired there. And you're possibly a kind of focus kind of guy. Really like your device to help you to focus. That's something that I'm quite into as well. So this is in at number 8. The Remarkable 2 is, you know, it's holding its own, and they're showing no signs of slowing down in actually marketing this thing. You know, having, as they have done, paid some very big YouTubers, iJustine and Lou from Unbox Therapy, to go ahead and unbox this thing and say how good it is. You know, but it does, in reality, I'm afraid it does kind of lag a little bit now. They brought a few things. For instance, they brought tick boxes. There they are. Okay, now the tick boxes are literally just that. You can just tick it and it crosses out the text that comes after it. It is no more than that. And that's a little bit like, you know, that's not great, is it really? If that was coupled with like some way to get to like a globally accessible task list, if there's a way in here, just button there to show me all of my tasks that are open on the whole device, or all my tasks in a certain folder, that would have been useful. That would have been a very logical next step, but they haven't done that. They've just gone ahead and, you know, done what they've done there, added tick boxes. So, you know, it's uninspiring, really. They need to go faster with that. Spend a little bit less money maybe on your marketing. Oops. And more on developing as well. And the thing is that actually, if you think about the way Supernote develops, their their marketing is their development, and their development is their marketing. So they're constantly asking, what do people want of their Supernote device? What do people want to have in a Supernote? And that is marketing. So they've got people constantly on Reddit. That's marketing. And actually, maybe they're not selling the volume that Remarkable are, but Remarkable actually would do it good to take a little bit of a leaf out of Supernote's book there. So one thing that I did notice as well on this recently, because it's aging, I think, I have started to see a few like crashes. There was a time when I just had trouble opening this one notepad, and it's doing something for me. It's currently doing a job for me, this device. It currently is my desk jotter. So literally all I have on here is I just have I just have to-do lists. I just have today I've got to film this, edit this, and I just do that. And I don't even use tick box. What I do with it, once I've done the thing, I just rub it out. So literally, this is just like a little scratch pad. It might as well be a little LCD tablet for £10, that kind of toy things. But anyway, I think they haven't got the same kind of loyal and keen like Supernote fans. Although people like their Remarkables, they aren't singing about it everywhere. You don't often read, love it, this is why I love it. What you read is like, it's doing a job for me. And, people are a bit more passive. I see people who use them. I also know people who bought them and thought they'd love it and then kind of left them and not really loved it. So what are your opinions on the Remarkable versus the Supernote? I think would be very interesting to hear in the chat as well. I think they need those features. They need calendaring. They need better task list integration. They need collaboration features. They're talking about using Remarkable and trying to convince companies to buy stacks of Remarkables for their teams. Well, very good, but really, there isn't a way to have multiple accounts collaborating on the same things. It isn't as integrated as you can do with some of the other e-ink tablets that are out there. So I think they need to kind of keep up. They don't really know, are they really a hardware company? Are they a software company? They're selling software as a service. They're adding a few features here and there that everyone else has got and aren't very inspiring. They might say, well, hang on, we're not any of those. We're not a hardware company. We're not a software company. We're not a software as a service company. We're not a cloud service. We are a focus company. And maybe they're selling this, we're a better you at work company. They're selling we're selling what you think you want to be like at work. We're selling an image of you walking into that meeting all prepared with your handwritten notes, and everyone's like, oh, they've got the Remarkable, aren't they? That type of person. The truth is, they're none of those things. They're not even a digital paper company, which they might say. The amount of times it says paper like on their marketing is a bit ridiculous. But what they are is a very good marketing company. So that's Remarkable too. They're at number 8. It's still a good device. If you've got one, if you're going for one, then it's great. It does what it says it does. It's just there are better alternatives now. So number 7 now. The A5X2. I mean, it is a great thing. The A5X is, I'm putting this at number 7, the A5X. I'm expecting to have to make another top 10 video after the A5X2 is out, and I bet it will go in a little bit higher. So I just want a quick little note here, because there's some other things. I think Books or other company will release better color tech. I don't know. I mean, that's down to e-ink. And I was recording some things earlier, and one thing I said about Books was that if there is another screen, then Books will probably put out another device to add that screen into their repertoire, because that is just what they're like. Interesting. Yeah, I saw that when I gave the feedback. Really good company. That's the Supernote company, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And agreeing with what I say about Remarkable too. Thank you. That's an interesting. Yeah, I just thought that's an interesting kind of idea for them, really. Just got a note F3C on the recommendation. You've converted me from getting the Supernote. Yeah, they're the two at the minute, aren't they? They're the two hot devices to think about. Hello, Geek Night. Good to see you, my man. Do you think Remarkable tried to emulate the feel of Apple with their products, trying to make it feel exclusive, especially with their marketing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They want to be known, let's face it, as the Apple of e-ink, really, don't they? They want to have this kind of thing, and they've restricted themselves from adding extra devices because that's what Apple did in the early days. There wasn't 4 or 5 different iPhone options. There was just the iPhone, and you want the iPhone. And people still are saying to me, if I carry this around, they say, "Oh, is that remarkable?" Because that's their exposure to e-ink tablets. And I think we're at the point now where we've got the Kindle Scribe, very popular tablet. Lenovo have a tablet which isn't in this list, even though I have tried it. It's definitely not in the top 10. I would take a Big Me over Lenovo. I sure would. But now they're at the point where Apple was when it did eventually release the iPhone C, I think they called it. Was that what they called it? Their first kind of kids version, different colors and everything like that. And I think that's where Remarkable are now, where they need to kind of go mass if they want to hang on. And they need to invest in their software. They need to invest in that. If they want people to pay for that as well, they need to make it better. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. So, Kai, have a little think about this. Maybe the Remarkable 2 is the one for you, but let's just listen to the other 6 after this one as well. So the A5X, I mean, it will just be interesting to really see where the A5X2 and so this is in their roadmap. The A5X2 is coming and the A5 Slim is coming. That probably, I reckon that will be 2025 now. I think they've said they're aiming for it in this year, but I don't think that'll happen. The A5X2 will be spring. My bet is March. And then the A4X2, I think that'll be autumn. I think that will be a November, December kind of release again. Not on purpose, but I think that's their pace where they're developing and trying to get things right before they put it out. So that's what I would kind of expect. It'll be really interesting to see where they go. So for now, this is a kind of placeholder for that, because I don't think you can actually buy the A5X anymore unless you buy it kind of secondhand, or rather as an open box. There's still open box versions of it kicking about. So do find those out. New software features like Atelier are coming, although I haven't got it quite yet. On this update, it's in beta currently for the A5X, so it's still there. And then new one has the will have the Feel Right 2 screen. So we'll see. So yeah, I've talked about the dates already. Good. Let's get excited about that generation. Yeah, the Slim. The Slim seems like an attractive. They've been banding that title around for some time. That's their kind of project name. It's always been, and I think it's the kind of, again, to go back to Remarkable, one thing the Remarkable say all the time is they say, well, it's the world's finished tablet, of course, the world's finished tablet, and the word paper used on every single line. That's how to sell devices. It's a good device. Okay. Next one, number 6 now, is the Tab Mini C. And from here on up, these are devices that I definitely recommend. And this is a great device because it does it all. I'll zoom in a bit. And it's also so small. It's a very balanced device, and I just think it is a great reader as well as being a great e-ink tablet. It's one, my wife gotten really well with it for being her kind of Kindle alternative, and having that notepad there on the side was really, really useful as well. So it's kind of got the power of one of the bigger ones. It's not quite as powerful a processor and as much RAM as the bigger ones, but it's kind of it does all the same sorts of things, all the same kind of apps. I'm just going to turn the front light up a little bit just to give you that little bit, but you can see there, the darkness of the screen immediately will be obvious to you straight there. Now, I would really, really love this, and I do like it, don't get me wrong, but it would be in my bag all the time if I was a comic reader. I think it's just got that exact right size for a kind of small comic. And the super refresh does mean that it goes quite, that the page turn will be quite snappy, and you won't get too much ghosting then when you do turn the page. I'll just see if I've got something quickly to access to show that off. But this is the right size for a comic. So into Kindle, Batman, there we go. That's just a sample, but it's a good enough sample to have a quick look at what I mean there. It would be a really, really good comic reader. If you're someone who reads graphic novels or comics, The book super refresh just means that your page turns are going to be that little bit less jarring. You see, it does look good. It's a really, really dark one, and this is a really challenging one for it because the color e-ink or any e-ink works really badly when it's got light on dark. Dark on light always looks quite good, but light on dark tends to lead to more ghosting. So you see it's really well controlled. What mode am I in here? Balanced, yeah. And really balanced is the mode to live in, really. It is the one to go for. You see that is very smooth, very enjoyable reading experience. I'm sure if you're a comic person, give me a thumbs up, let me know. And if you own a Tab Mini C and you use it for comics, certainly do let me know that. Having, imagine if that was having to do full refreshes every single page turn to look really good. That would be quite jarring, wouldn't it? But actually, that smooth kind of skip between frames is pretty nice. Let me just clarify something about the BSR, the book super refresh technology that's allowing it to do that so fast. It is really good for managing the ghosting with the e-ink capsules. Right? It's really good at stopping ghosting in e-ink. Now, e-ink is made of these little pockets with pigments in them, and what it does is it rises the black to the surface when it wants to be dark and pushes the black from the surface when it wants to be white. The book super refresh is very good at bringing black areas back to pure white. So we can clear out white areas of the screen without having to do that full refresh so often. And I really notice it when I go browsing in Chrome. And you'll probably see it. Hopefully it's coming through. I'm trying to watch it on the video a little bit out the corner there and see if it's really coming through there. If I move a piece, see that ghosting just clear from there. You can hopefully see this white area just clearing up on there. Now that is because that is what the book super refresh is very good at doing. It is not so good at clearing out the color space. Now, unfortunately, the color is a different type of technology. It's kind of like a color matrix, a lot of people are calling it. It's a bit like a sort of reflective LCD sort of area of the screen. And that's a different type of technology. And for some reason, when you've had very white things in front, very like white text in front of where a color now is, you often see ghosting from that whiter stuff or the lighter stuff in that color area. So when you've got large areas of color, you sometimes see a bit of ghosting. And I've seen a few comments saying, oh, they're told it was excellent ghosting performance. And actually, now I see lots and lots and lots of ghosting. So you see these faint white lines a lot of times on the top of kind of color areas. But that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about clearing out that white space so you get back that extra nice contrast there. If you just see what I mean just in there. Now, if you don't have the BSR technology, it doesn't do that, basically. There isn't anyone that's doing that kind of equivalent. Bigme have a similar thing, but it isn't as good as this. The books are the best at getting the best look out of e-ink, full stop. And if that color thing that I've just described with the white lines puts you off, then you don't want e-ink at the minute. Okay, because that's as good as it gets. Okay, where are we up to? So really like this. I'm also looking forward to Pocketbook are going to send me their Kaleido-free device, which doesn't have a stylus, but it's a cheaper way to get a Kaleido-free screen for a pure reader. I'm really going to do that comparison for kind of pure reading. I'm really looking forward to looking at the Pocketbook device. Anyone else got an experience with Pocketbook? Let me know, please. Yeah, absolutely, Tony. You've hit the nail on the head there. That book super fresh has a massive impact on the battery life, and I've been reading a lot of comments talking about how that battery life has changed their mind about a device, and now they're going for something different. And I'm hopeful one day in the not too distant future that we'll have a device which will have as good a battery life as e-ink can, and as good a battery life as e-ink can, and that amazing super refresh technology. Yeah, what did you just buy? Cool, we're going to crack on. I think you can probably guess what's coming next. What did you just buy? Let us know. This is the Kindle Scribe. I think we're at number 5 now. Still in the Western market, the only place you can get the 300 DPI. I think this is a Carter 1250 screen, but somebody might correct me on that. You can see it's rapid. You can see it's high contrast. You can see it looks really, really good in terms of, it's less pixelated. If I do that later on with a 227 pixel print screen, you will see the difference, but you only really see the difference straight there. And this is the one at this point. This is the one I recommend if you just want to get started, because the price point of this with that amazing screen, and actually the software is going in the right direction. There is still improvements being made to the software. They've done things like they've improved the browser. Finally, the web browser, I'm happy to report, is now actually usable. It's not something you'd want to like log in, and don't expect things like plugins or anything like that. But it's much more usable. When I first started with this browser, it was just absolutely no chance, nothing to see here. You couldn't use it at all, not even really just to do a quick bit of reference on Wikipedia or anything like that. But now it works just fine. And you can, browse to your heart's content on that. It's nowhere near the performance of what I've just shown you, though, of course, on books. The browser is not, of course, a main use of it, but if you're going to put a browser on there, it should at least work, and now it does at least. And in any case, a lot of us actually do our reading on the web. So like if you're somebody who maybe reads a website for your news rather than gets a particular document, a particular thing, particular book or periodical as an ebook, then you'll quite like this, because at least you can, on this same device, decide to browse the news here. Now, it does remain to see what the Kindle team are going to do with the Scribe. They've removed this kind of like secret web link that we all kind of found, where we found a way to access your notebooks online, and for some reason now you can't go there anymore. There's nothing there. It was a place where you could get all of your notebooks were stored online, and it was kind of reassuring that they're all there in the cloud somewhere, but now you can't go there anymore. And I'm hoping that's because they're ready to develop that into an actually really usable cloud platform. Maybe somewhere where you're actually able to do more with your books, more with your notebooks, than just look at an image of it, because that's all you could do. You couldn't even save the image. You had to screenshot the image if you wanted to get it out of the platform. Hopefully they're going to make something that's actually somewhere you can interact with your handwritten notes, maybe export it as a PDF directly on the web platform, maybe add to notes, maybe type, copy things out. They also have something that nobody else has got at this point, which is in the share button, you can share the entire notebook. I'm just going to move it so I don't accidentally show you my thing. And then you get the option to convert to text and email. And one of the options in there is actually, and the conversion to text is just as accurate as anything else. When you get the share, you can share it as a searchable PDF. So you can attach the notebook as a searchable PDF, right? And that means that then when you get that PDF on your computer, although it looks like the handwritten notes, you can actually highlight the text and you can actually copy that. And those words, the words that it has converted, which aren't always the most accurate, the words that it's converted are copied by a Control-C and copy and paste out into whatever you need. And you can use Control-F, you can find within the PDF as well, and it'll highlight them. So it'll treat the actual marks, the actual handwriting, like it's real text. I mean, that's a really cool thing. And it could be a really powerful thing for you. It could be the thing that actually makes you think, great, that's what I want. I know I want to read Kindle books, and I know I need a notebook next to it. And I know then I need that notebook to be on my computer. I can just export it once I've done, and I can copy those texts and use it in places. That might be a use case. That's amazing. And it's a feature that none of the other tablets have at all. Yeah, it's it's pretty nice. Cool. And yeah, I'm really impressed with that. So it is a recommend. It's a recommend if you want to spend less. It's a recommend if you're kind of umming and erring and you're thinking to yourself, I don't really want to spend the £500 that some of the bigger ones, I think the better ones are asking for, but this is a good like entry point. You can get a refurbished ones, which would come through and it'll look just as good as new. It'd be brilliant. Do it. Just pull the trigger, enjoy ink for a bit, get really into this, enjoy reading on it, enjoy the feel of the Wacom EMR stylus. Enjoy the ultra fast, ultra low latency. It's one of the top ones for that. And yeah, get into using an e-ink tablet. Great tablet for the price. Let's have a little look through some of the comments. Any thoughts with this? Could use Libby or Overdrive. Yeah, I've heard these are fantastic services that you can't get on Libby, but you can get Libby on an Android tablet, can you? I want to say. I'm not entirely sure though. Hello everyone. And is there a best e-ink tablet for students? Well, stay put. I think again, if price is the main concern, then this might be it. But yeah, organized notes by class, which you can do. You can have folders there. We'll see. Stay tuned for that one. I do have a video, which is what I recommend for students. All going good tonight. It's live. Hopefully nothing crashes. Always, something's got to go wrong when you're live on YouTube. But it's always good. It's always fun. Some got a Nomad to replace Moleskine. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, let us know. And there's a blog post written about it. Nice one. Yeah, Libby does have an Android app. Awesome. Great chat, everybody. So we're on to number 4 now. We really are up there with the best of them now. So number 4, what's it going to be? Well, something I'm making a lot of content, a lot more comments on this coming. This is objectively weaker, but this is a subjectively right in this spot here. This is, it's the A6X2. This is the Nomad. It's just a great little device, isn't it? And it's a great little direction it's going, and it's obligatory to show everyone what it really looks like. This is the Crystal edition, and it doesn't you can't mix and match the backs with the other Nomad, which I wish they had done that, to be honest, but there we are. It's the little things. It's the 2-finger page swipe. It's the gesture to do erase, or the gesture to do a select. The little things that they've thought about that allows you to do that. Is the being able to make the table of contents where you can skip backwards and forwards to make links. Although I found that you can't actually link to a image. You can't link to SPD, that one of the files that is the Atelier files. You can only really access the Atelier files by going into the Atelier files. And I just made this video on how I'm making these drawings on here, and it's a really good experience. So what you can do is you start with your harder pencils, and then you can add in your tonal layers with a nice textured spray can they've given you, and then you can add in some darker lines and really start to flesh out your drawing, and then you can add in even more tone if you wish, deeper tones, and then you can finally put a bit of pen on top. And I think that's great. That's such a nice thing to draw. And yeah, the new screen feel is really, really good. It's just getting about the device, which is great. The pen response is excellent. It will be one of the better ones. I just feel, the funny thing is, my writing is neater on here. Swipe up just to clear out the ghosting there. It's always neater on here than anything else, just because it's a pleasure to write on. It's like when I don't know that you've had much experience of pens, because we're such a digital age now, but that's a ridiculous thing to say. But when you pull out a nice fountain pen, it makes you want to write neater, and that's what this device does. So many great things about this device. And the thing about this is it just makes me want to travel. It just makes me want to simplify my digital life. It's almost a shame because, as somebody commented on one of my videos for this device, it's almost a shame that I am a reviewer of these things, because I'm not getting to live the digital minimalist lifestyle that this is engineered for. I'm not complaining. I love reviewing the e-ink tablets, and I love seeing you guys here and chatting to you guys. It's really, really cool. But it's kind of like, this should just be your one device that you've made this amazing contents page for. And, I am going to commit to it at some point. I'm reviewing something else as my daily driver at the minute, and I will carry this around. It will be my one thing for a while. But yeah, it should just be your one thing, totally. Yeah, it feels so nice. The clarity is very good. Absolutely. Pen loop seems a bit large for this pen, yeah, but it probably doesn't seem so large for the Heart Metal 2 pen there. But yeah, absolutely. There'll be some more accessories coming soon. A6X2, both of the screeching back cover issues, while palmless on the left-hand side of the edge. Interesting. Yeah, nothing like that from me. I mean, you know, there is always some defects when anything is manufactured. Maybe had a faulty one. Interesting stuff. So now we're up to number 3. Where are we going next? Zoom out. This is the Tab X. It's an absolute mammoth, and I still think maybe this is your choice for typing. I know this is the choice for your academic PDFs. I know this is the choice if you want to use side by side. You know, I was really thinking, I was doing a bit of typing on my mechanical keyboard, linked to the Note F3C just last night. But actually, this could be a really nice place to type. I can imagine having that sat on a coffee table. You know, obviously in, has it rotated? No, you can have it on auto rotate. I just don't always do that with my tablets. Having, you know, writing here, large size like this, I could imagine sitting here and typing here, you know, being maybe quite far away from it. Nice big text, very comfortable just to sit and do a piece of writing. It's really good, and you know, it could be a really great place for getting your words out. And also, it is the best for the split screen, because if you want to do something, so I've got a PDF there, and I can have a notepad here, or I can have any other app here. I could have into my Word, into my school OneDrive. You know, there's loads of things I could do with this. Having this large space is great, and I know some people are thinking the color this size might come soon. Might not. Still think this deserves 3rd place here in the top 10, because it is still so great. I've spent a lot of time on it. Spent a lot of time reviewing this in the past. It doesn't feel, you know, it doesn't feel as heavy as it is, but yeah, it's not the finished device. It's not the device it could have been at this point from books, really. I think if they'd have spent a bit more time and didn't just rush this one out because they needed a large tablet in their lineup and the Lamy 2 was coming to the end of its run, I think maybe they could have done it even better. So here we are then. We're at number 1 and 2. I wonder if you've got ideas of what are going to be at number 1 and 2. If you've got any idea, let me know in the chat as well. Some interesting points here. Companies have just standardized their app on writing on top of PDFs as page templates. That would be interesting. Merge note-taking, PDF editing, just compete on feature set and implementation. Interesting. Yeah, again, it maybe goes back a little bit to what we were talking about with Remarkable. What type of company do they want to be? Do they want to be a company which is a software company? Do they want to be a hardware company? Do they want to be a software as a service type of company? Do they want to be a marketing company? Interesting question, what they can compete on. So what's the smallest size you think you would have a usable split screen? Well, I do use the 7.8 inch. That's the Tab Mini. I do use that size for a split screen at times. If I'm just reading something like a novel type thing, I want a notepad next to it maybe, or just quickly open a notepad next to a larger document. I do sometimes do that. So I have used Kindle and a notepad next to it with the smaller size, and that's been good. But it's not really like something you do all the time, and not for kind of professional use cases really. I was reading a book on storytelling, I think, and I was making notes at the side. It wasn't a novel at all, but so that. Look at both looks Note F3C based on reviews. You've seen discount codes for premium bundles. I'd like to view. No, I don't think I've ever seen any discount codes yet. There was a little bit of a discount, I think, on some books devices over kind of Black Friday, but not much. And it was just a bundle. I think they were discounting things like the keyboard case to go with it more than they usually do. So number 1 is my guess. You might be surprised. One of the Onyx Books devices. So Tab Ultra C Pro at 1 and Note F3C at 2. Still using Max Leo 2. It's a great device, John. Absolutely. Don't need to replace that. Remarkable one used. Yeah, could be a good buy. But this isn't about what you would buy. This is about what I think is the current best. Okay, so let's just make sure we know the rules. Okay, so in at number 2, I'm putting the Tab Ultra C Pro in at number 2. I'm not feel bad about it. Is it just number 2 at the minute? Is it just, the Note Air 3C is just that good? It is my choice. It's not just what we kind of said in our debate here. It is fabulous, but at the minute I'm going back to, and I'm currently using the Note Air 3C at work, largely because it's the most popular device. It's the one that everyone is kind of gravitating to, and therefore, it's the best. The Note Air 3C is a better device than this. This might well be my favorite. I think this is the form factor that will eventually take over. But at the minute, I think that the Note Air 3C is the device to recommend over this device. It's close to the top. It really is the close to the top. I think this is just the slickest experience of e-ink. I think this is the objective. Objectively, it's more powerful. It's got more RAM. It's got a better processor. It's the same screen, of course. It's got this keyboard case, but there's just something about the Note Air 3C which is just very, very right. The Tab Ultra C Pro is very, very right as well, and definitely deserves its position here as the number 2. But it's a tough one. It's been a really tough call for me. I've been thinking about it quite a lot, and I still really love using the old Tab Ultra C, the Pro version. I'm still using that quite a lot, actually. This is just a great form factor. And really, I do like this as a place for managing my writing. So that's an interesting point. I won't spend too much more time on it. Again, I've got lots of content on this if you want. And I'm allowed to change my mind, aren't I? Okay, I argued for this as being the best. I do think it is great. I think as well, it's heavy. It's a kilogram pretty much. And the Tab Ultra, the Note Air 3C here at number 1 is that bit lighter. It is that bit thinner, and it goes in and out of your bag so much more easily. It is more like what you expect to use as a kind of professional, lives next to your keyboard. It can be your notes. You've made these notebooks, and then you can just stand it up next to your keyboard while you type out or you work on your professional things like so. Yeah, it is just a more mature device. You think about the way Brandon killed that device. Which device will be here the longest? Which device will have the most staying power? This one will be, and it's really, really good. Interesting. And I'm calling this again. I'm thinking to myself, well, now we've got the Note Air 3 as well, and the black and white version. So I'm thinking really, in number 2, we've got the Tab Ultra series. And at number 1, let's call it the Note Air 3 series. Because I do think that there are benefits to the black and white one. I'm going to bring that in now. I don't know if you saw my first video on the black and white Note Air 3. And I'm going to talk about that for a little while next. That's what I'm going to do. The next part of this live stream, I've got a little bit longer for you. Feel free to ask away, everybody. Should we just quickly run through from the top? Number 3 was the Tab X. Number 4 was the A6X2. Number 5 was the Kindle Scribe, affectionately known as the Skindle. Let me know if you think. Let me know if you think I've got it totally wrong. Number 6 was the Tab Mini C, excellent device. And these 6 upwards, the ones I currently absolutely recommend, because 7, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you go out and buy an A5X right now. Probably wait for the A5X2, which will almost certainly go in higher up this list. The Remarkable 2, good device. but I reckon there's now better out there. And the Kobo Ellipsa 2E, good for reading on. And finally, the Big Me Ink Note. Let me know what you think. Books does seem to dominate the listing. Yeah, and that is an objective kind of thought. If you read in the comments of any of my videos, it also seems to be the case that most people are thinking. If you watch other people's reviews, most people, they're dominating e-ink right now. So it's an interesting one. I've had to call these a series because honestly, it could have been, if I'd have separated them all out, it could have been it could have been all 10. Maybe not all 10, but it could have been the top 5 certainly. Interesting. Yeah, color is probably more stimulating for learning, but I think for students you don't need something so you don't need something so expensive. So there we go. And this is the Note Air 3 here on the right hand side. Had a great time with it earlier doing the first drawing on it. It's really, really good. It is a little bit cheaper. It's sort of, what is it, £100 cheaper than the Note Air 3 color. And well, let's just go through a few little test outs. You tell me if you want to see, what would you like to see tested out side by side here. This is my first little comparison of the two of them. A little bit in the video of comparison that I made on the Note Air 3. Any comparisons you'd like to see, ask away. You can see straight away, if I go ahead and turn the lights right off, it is off there on this one. And I've got quite a lot of light on this desk here at the minute because, you know, that's what I do. I make videos and you can see how much lighter this is. But what this doesn't have, the Note Air 3 does not have the book's super refresh technology. So it is not that. If I can just show you, see the ghosting is not being cleared there. You can maybe just see that. If I go to any other place here, do the same swipe, and it removes the ghosting immediately. The ghost of that image is still there. They're both in a similar kind of ink mode, balanced here and normal on here. So the speed mode would be the faster one there, but it still doesn't do that clearing out. You can see, I can still see the ghosted effects. Not really showing so well on the video. Still see the ghosted menu that I had there, whereas that menu is gone here on the Note Air 3C. Let's just try and balance them out. This does mean that you are losing a lot of battery life to use your front lights quite high a lot of the time. But you see, even there, what do I have to get to match the brightness? Like at least 2/3, maybe even, yeah, full is brighter, but full really does limit your battery life. So there's no BSR here. Oh, I've turned it off because I was drawing earlier. So you have these Smart Scribe functions. But as I was drawing earlier, and if you draw with a Smart Scribe on, it thinks you're rubbing everything else when you're shading. There's no BSR here. There's very similar internals, the same processor, the same RAM, all of those things. There is just a different screen, but this is 227 ppi screen. This is a 300 ppi screen. And I said I'd show this to you earlier when I showed the Kindle Scribe. You can maybe see there's a bit more pixelation there for the 227 ppi screen. You look here, the 300 ppi screen, there's less. Although the color, remember the color here is only 150 ppi, so it's better for like large areas of colors really. So what would you like to compare? Writing, feel, sound, what? It's the same. It's the color one. It's the same screen. Possibly that sounds a little bit less sharp than this, but that's because this is just out of the box. Yeah, a combination, and Nova 2 and Air 3C with the same book scan. Absolutely, yeah. Books do allow you to have that combination. You can see that here. I've actually got the same notebook open, but it will sync when I go out and save it. That's what I'll do. The battery life, well, that's what we're hopeful for. So I have been using it most of the day to film things. I've had to charge this up in that time. This started about 70 today. It went down to about 30 earlier on from being used for filming things earlier on today. This Note Air 3 is still up at 83, so it's lost less than 10% in the day that I've been using it today. And I've done a lot of installing and things like that, which normally takes quite a lot out. You can see why that is. Well, it's because it doesn't have the BSR. It's because I'm not having to run the front light here. It's great. Yeah, good point. No, mate. Yeah, so absolutely. Possibly the big Tab X would be your desk bound one. Yeah, and absolutely. If ghosting annoys you, you just press the refresh button. It's right there all the time. Or you can have one of the gestures be a refresh. Absolutely. Any other comparisons? You want to see latency? Absolutely. So let's just, it's hard to see on this video, but latency is definitely higher on the non-BSR one. Okay, that's the type of thing you're going to wait for a video where somebody has slowed down the things or something like that. But there is definitely the case. This feels fine. It is quick. It might even be quicker than the previous generation of Note Air 2. But this is probably the fastest you can get right now. Neither of them are. Is it gonna put you off writing with them at all? Might wait for the A5X2, see what that looks like before I make a purchase. Very sensible. We're up to Battery Life. A collaborative note system that's updated live. No, these, I don't really like this about their system, but these only save when you come out of the notes. I think that's like, it's not my favorite thing about it. So we're in the same note there. It's going to confuse matters now because you can see they both have the same thing on. Yeah, it's added. I think it's added it as another page. But it isn't real time. Yeah, it's added it in as another page. So it got confused. Oh, sorry, that's not focused. It got confused, and then it's added it in as another page. Both these now have the same content in them. But there isn't a updating absolutely live. You could use a third-party one, but then you wouldn't have the great low latency performance of the screen if you use a third-party app like that. Yeah, if it's desk bound, absolutely less concerned. But the problem is with the Note F3C is what I'm spending time actually thinking about the battery, and it is like what I'm doing is I'm having to check it, in the morning. I'm thinking, do I need to plug it in at any point today? Okay, I've got half an hour at the computer. I've got a cable in my bag. I can just quickly plug it into the computer. That type of thing. You're just managing the battery kind of constantly, which isn't great. Yeah, so, okay, well, we'll leave that comparison there. I'm going to talk about my next little thing. Well, let's go ahead and have a look in Sheets, because I'm going to talk about reading now, and I'm going to talk about being really, what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional about what I do with my time in 2024. I'm going to talk through what I've read so far, and in the description, you can actually find this sheet, and you can feel free to go to it, and you can have a look at what's been recommended to me to read and what I've read so far in 2024. And my plan is to read 104 books. 104 books in 2024, and my wife thinks I can't do it. So I've got two columns essentially in this first sheet of recommendations. Firstly, ones that I've kind of recommended to myself, ones that I've been planning to read. And secondly, ones that are recommended by you in my last live stream. So literally any recommendations at all, please chuck them my way. Put them in the comments. Put them if you're watching. If you're watching on the replay, put them in the main comments. And you can actually see there also the ones I have read on a separate little tab. And then I'm just going to kind of keep a little reflective journal. Now, here's one thing you can see. These should all be green. Because I've read them all, but they look very yellow at this point. So I wonder if I can optimize these and get a better color out of it. Because they certainly should be. No, that's not going to help. These are the black. It should be greener than this. So the color ink is still struggling with its green. If I go on vividness enhancer, that sometimes helps. That's made it more yellow look. And dark color. There we go. That's better. So a bit of the dark color enhancement really brought out the green there, didn't it? And that's one thing about using books is if you're happy to learn those things and get used to using the ink optimization, and maybe also if you're here earlier on, you can see now how there is ghosting in the color areas more than there is in the black and white areas. The book Super Refresh deals with the black and white areas really, really well, but the color areas are dealt with not quite so well. So let's have a look at these things so far. So what have I read? I read The Prince this year. I really enjoyed that. It really is the kind of original leadership guide. Oh, thank you very much. It's really amazing. Thanks so much. Yeah, you don't notice the non-300 DPI, and you don't notice the longer latency, I suppose. It's still an excellent device. Really enjoyed it. I didn't know that the kind of whole story about Marcus Aurelius and his son Commodus, and the Commodus used to go and fight in the gladiator pits. I don't know if that's where the film Gladiator was kind of come from. It kind of come from somebody reading Marcus Aurelius. I've given them all a bit of a kind of a bit of a kind of rating, but it's a very subjective rating. It's not a review, but so I enjoyed The Prince a 6 out of 10. That it's not to say that the Prince is actually there. It's really interesting to listen to those things, but it wasn't really something that really kind of I could use in my everyday life. The next one I read was Shuggy Bane, and Shuggy Bane I'm going to get up on the Note Air 3, the black and white one. I'll get the Kindle itself. No, I won't, because I haven't got that app here. I'll just use the Kindle itself. Maybe you can spot any differences with the screen whilst I do this as well, and make your choice whether you think you're going to be better off with the black and white screen or the color screen. They're both 300 DPI in black and white, but the color is not really as clear all the time as this. So Shuggy Bane is this one here. Okay, good book, really, really good book. Enjoyed that. Read it on my little Kindle actually. We go onto the cover. Right, go off. It should do. But it's interesting in one respect because it tells you a lot about what life in Glasgow must have been like in the kind of 80s and early 90s. It's really harrowing, is what I would say about it. I kind of wanted it to end by the end, like before the end actually, because it was kind of getting to the point where it was kind of like leeching into my own like kind of life in a way. Like it was really affecting my mood a little bit towards the end. So great book, gave it an 8 out of 10. But kind of as far as enjoying reading it, I didn't enjoy it towards the end. The next one was Ali Abdaal, which I read on Audible, which is good. And one reflection that I've made so far really is that a lot of if I'm going to read 104 books in 24, then a lot of them are going to be Audible books. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with that personally, but you might think that's kind of cheating. I don't know, you tell me. But Ali Abdaal was good. It wasn't fabulous. I gave it a 7. Like tips to manage your energy and manage your mood. I quite like the 5. It's called the 5 wise tips. So there's this tip that I think it was a Japanese chap gave, which was that if you're asking why something happened, ask why 5 times. Why 5 times? So ask why 5 times. So say this accident happened. Why did the accident happen? Why did it get to the situation where the accident happened? Why, and so you sort of drill down to try and avoid that same kind of chain of events happening again. I thought that was a really good little tip. It was really good there, but I kind of got the feeling in the end that he was kind of telling us how he managed to kind of trick himself into writing this book. And it's not the kind of to lend you to think this is the most exciting book where somebody's had to use productivity tips to kind of trick themselves to write this book. I also think that I've listened to a fair amount of Ali Abdaal's kind of podcasts and videos. They're good. Great examples. It was one of the people that I kind of watched early on in my YouTubing career to learn how to speak as a kind of British person on film, on video, because you hear so many American voices nothing wrong with that, of course. But if the voice in your head isn't the same as the voice that you actually come up with when you talk to the camera, you feel quite nervous and you feel quite uncomfortable. And what I was listening to was a lot of channels with American presenters, and so therefore it was meaning that I wasn't getting the kind of voice that I was expecting when I started speaking. It was an interesting point, and he really helped me out with that, not purposefully, but vicariously just helped me out by watching that. I read something called Lean Planning by Peps McRae. It's a teaching thing, and I'm going to often read teacher centric books on my phone. That's one thing that I'm going to do quite a lot of, is to keep on here on the Kindle app, keep a professional focused book, one that's purely for my own kind of reading, because of course I've always got my phone with me purely for my own work, and then I can use those moments at work just to sort of pull it out. And I'm not sure where it's gone now, but it was a Kindle Unlimited book. Recommend Kindle Unlimited to you. I go for a lot of kids' books on Kindle Unlimited, but Peps McRae's got lots of his library there on Kindle Unlimited, so that's really, really good as well. Great stuff. What did I like about it? Some good tips. Just plan with the end in mind, really. Confirms a lot of things that I was already doing. But it was towards the end, it was like really interesting. It confirmed a lot of what I think about trying to make sure you're engaging with higher level thinking. And really, I think that's a really good thing. That's why I'm reading more. I read Alex Ferguson's book finally. I hadn't read that before, and I read that on my Kindle, my smaller Kindle. Great book. Well, is it a great book? And it's not the best book in the world. I've put it as a 6. I really liked reading it because I'm a Man United fan. But it's not the best book. It's not the best, most written. It's not the best written book out there at all. And so it's very interesting listening to his kind of descriptions of all the players. Sometimes when he would describe a goal, I was thinking I could imagine that exact goal in my mind. I've seen that goal so many times, and the way he described it was just so succinct, and it was kind of like reliving it with him, which was really nice. Interesting hearing about the players and their personalities. But again, I thought there'd be more about leadership, and I think Carlo Ancelotti's book is better. If you're interested in leadership, then go with that. There's some great nice recommendations, and I will go back through this chat afterwards, and I will go ahead and put them all into this for later. Just read Calm Parents, Happy Children. Really, really useful book. Gave it a 7 out of 10. Did actually quite enjoy reading it. And I think it's just important to actually research and think about the way you're parenting, rather than just diving into it and ending up doing exactly what your parents did. And we all kind of think, well, that's what happened to me and it didn't do me any harm. But really think about what the latest kind of thinking about parenting is. And it's been useful already in changing the kind of way that I just maybe approach those difficult times when there are tantrums or anything like that. Really good book, that one. Very, very useful. It's called Calm Parents, Happy Children. I'll show you what it is. Looks like on Audible. Laura Markham, Calm Parents, Happy Kids, it's called. Okay, great job. My daughter and I are listening to Wonka when she's in the car with me. But currently I'm reading Digital Minimalism, Cal Newport. And this is the first one that's actually been recommended by one of you guys. Rod in Real Life recommended that to me. And so the first 6 I read were actually my own recommendations, ones that I thought of reading. But the next 6 probably, certainly I'm going to go on to reading ones from you. And that is just an excellent book, that Cal Newport book. I'm almost certainly going to go straight on and read the next one. I'm almost certainly going to go and read Deep Work, which actually was written before that. And I'm just really amazed by how well written it is. It's the way he uses story is so clever, and he starts the chapter with these kind of seemingly unrelated, no idea why they make sense, and he sets up the kind of like imperative for action, and then he goes and gives you lots and lots and lots of evidence as well. So it's a very scholarly book. He's a professor, and so it's no surprises for that, but it still maintains its readability. It's absolutely fabulous. And digital minimalism, as I said, I thought, I know all about that. I've seen so many digital minimalism YouTube videos. I've got a couple myself that I made. I was reflecting on how the Kindle, not the Kindle, sorry, Supernote. I was reflecting on how the Supernote Nomad is really like a minimalist's kind of dream. It really fits in with that philosophy that he's discussing there. It's just a fabulous, fabulous book. I'm going to talk about it for a little while now as well. You know, I really like some of the thoughts about having real conversations rather than having text chats. You know, it's just one of the small things, like upgrade the quality of your interactions. And I think it's really, really good. I'm going to talk a little bit more about digital minimalism after I just had a quick look through some of your recommendations. I'm not going to read this year, and those 104 books are all going to be brand new to me. So I've read Mouse, thought that was brilliant. If you've got a color e-ink tablet, Mouse will go very well on it. Mouse, yeah, absolutely. Just so informative, isn't it? It's just so important to go through those chapters and read it the way that he's been told it by his grandfather. It's just, yeah, it's seminal. It's a fabulous book. Yeah, interesting talking about different types of pens. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to get one of those and try it out, aren't I? Soft grip makes a huge difference. Good stuff. Convert one of the ink phones. I hope we start getting iOS e-ink devices from Apple. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Apple are making these Vision Pros, but they're also giving you kind of, your phone will tell you to move it further away from you, to give your eyes a bit of a rest. So it'll be interesting to see if they jump on the e-ink bandwagon. I hope they do, actually. Yeah, the small letters. So let's have a little look in for the Note Air 3. I think there's something about the paper feeling screen protector which does give it a little bit of that matte texture. It's great for controlling that reflection. If you look at that versus seeing some information on my phone screen, I catch that same light. You see how specular that is? How there's just an image of that light on my ceiling compared to this. The matte screen protector does do a great job of controlling those. Which colored ink tablet has the best battery life? Gosh, that's hard. I don't know. I think that none of them are fabulous. The Big Me with color it probably does better for the battery that it has, but it has a smaller battery than certainly the Tab Ultra C Pro did. So it comes out about the same, but it's a difficult one. Not entirely sure yet. Wish Palm had handwriting notes, pocket-sized sidekick to the Note Air 3. Yeah, wouldn't it be great to have a little stylus pen like a Samsung tablet? Because these S Pens, everyone, I don't know if you're aware, the S Pen is a Wacom EMR stylus. So this is just as nice to write on. Well, it's just as low latency. But it's even lower latency than the ink tablets. It's doing it's predicting where your pen is going to be as the electromagnetic cone comes in. It notes it knows when the pen is going to hit, and it starts making that mark even before you've kind of touched. Just the moment you touch it, it kind of appears. But it can do that because it's an OLED screen. It's not e-ink. I'm going to talk about this in a little while just now as well. But yeah, wouldn't it be great? And certainly, I'd hope they do this with a fold. They put it in here. I'm going to talk about the fold because I'm not sure I can really use my fold for work. And I want to know: do you think that? Do you think should I use this for work? That's my next question to you. Should I use the fold? This is a Samsung Fold 3. I've had it for like over 2 years now. I've replaced the screen on it twice, incidentally. If you're not sure. One thing about these screens is they do get dirty. It is quite annoying, the Fold screens. I'm not sure if the Fold 5 is better because it actually sandwiches together so it doesn't get so much dirt in between the two things. But the folding screens don't stay as clean as normal ones because they're not getting a kind of wipe every time you put them in and out of your pocket. So there we are. That cleans it up a little bit better. And I don't know why. Two things about the Fold. I don't know why in the later ones they've made the S Pen make a little sound. So the S Pen makes a little sound, but it actually uses the speakers to make a kind of paper-like scratching sound, rather than just putting a paper-like film onto it. Okay, I certainly think they should have that as an option. And I don't know why nobody's made an e-ink folding screen, because it is possible to make e-ink do this. It was one of the, the older plastic screens could do that. Interesting. Cutting for stone. I will have a look at that. Any, please tell me the author as well, if you don't mind. The thing about the Scribe, Antoine, is that having the Scribe is just so much cheaper than the other one. So it's better for the student because it's more affordable. It's more appropriate for a lot of students just because of that, really. But better than the paperwhite. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But for a Kindle, absolutely, I would definitely go for that and have the pen input. Heart of Metal 2, touch my Nomad with my middle finger. So officially, I was just making this point, is you can use the Heart of Metal 2 on here. It's not actually recognizing it. It should work though. And if I bring another Wacom EMR stylus here, it says only use the S pens. Okay, but I want to use this because it won't really damage it, will it? No, it says only use the S pens because we want to sell you an S pen. So the thing, it should work, but it doesn't. So I didn't really answer your question. Touch the Nomad with my middle finger. I have the tip pinned between my thumb and index, back resting between my. Not sure. I mean, you just don't. It's not a very ergonomic pen for you, I suppose. Yeah, that's the difficulty as well, isn't it? That these things aren't in stores for you to try out, and it would be great, wouldn't it, if you go into a store and try out all the different stationery, all the different types of pens, and the different screen fields, and the look of them, and really get to know them. That's really what I think I'd love to see. A couple more things. History of the Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. I haven't. I don't think so. So thank you. That's a good recommend. No, cameras don't have a big impact. It's not something I particularly use. I think, I'm just as likely to pull out a phone and take a snap of a document or something like that, and then just send it up to the cloud that way. If I need to use the scanner. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Remarkable 2, wondering, does the Kindle books have a blue light or not, like the Remarkable? Yeah, no, they have mixed color lights. So what they have is you can change. I come on here. You can ask it to be colder or warmer depending on the time of day. Look, the Remarkable doesn't have a light at all. So that's the coldest light, bright and cold look, bright and warm. And really you just end up using somewhere balanced on both, really, brightness and like this. Okay. Don't know what I've made a joke. Oh, thank you. Abraham Verghese, right. Thank you very much for that. I will check them all out. Yeah, but I don't think this year, because I don't think the Remarkable would have spent so much money on marketing with iJustine and people like that. So we will see. I think maybe 2025. It could be autumn this year. That would make sense, actually. Autumn this year would make sense. So I'm going to talk now about being more intentional, and I've got this kind of side by side here. I want to know, do you think I should, would you like to see that? Would you, I do 2 weeks at work with these devices for each review. So I use these as my planner for 2 full weeks at work before I do that. And I've never done it with my Fold 3. And I've kind of thought, well, I'm carrying around something with the Wacom EMR stylus just to pull out something else out of my bag with a Wacom EMR stylus. So do you think, what do you think? Would you watch that? Would you be interested in the findings of that? That I find out what it's like to use my phone at work. And what I end up using this notepad for is basically shopping lists and other incidental things like that. So that would be interesting, I think, to see that. As you can see, it's almost the same kind of size here. It's got the same kind of note-taking capability. I can, of course, use a PDF app on here and note directly on my PDF, which is what I do on my planners here as well if I go to a planner. So it should be the similar kind of thing, but really pulling out a, see that? S Pen isn't working on here either, whereas it should. So it is the same technology, but what do you think? Should I go ahead and do that? It really is. We've got these two side by side. We've really got digital minimalism here on one side and digital maximalism here, if that's a word. these are really two sides, aren't they, of the spectrum of like how you treat tech. You go for the A6X2 Nomad because you want the absolute minimum. You want to be connected, but you want it to be in a way which is quite considered and deliberate. Whereas this is like you can do everything, got it in your pocket. It's like, this is just having it is like having an iPad mini in your pocket, frankly, isn't it? And I've never really picked out a kind of excellent note-taking app for this phone. Maybe I should try. Maybe I should daily drive this at work. One thing about the phone is now that I've got this big screen in my pocket, I kind of think anyway, that I couldn't go back from this phone. And I'm wondering, should I take that step and try and just, say, no, what's my next phone going to be? Maybe the Zen phone. I tried to go with a mix of the Palmer, this kind of e-ink thing, and a tiny little phone, the Jelly 2E, and it just didn't work. And I just kind of had to go back to this thing. And I think, there's something to that kind of distractions. This has always been my kind of personal device. It's where I watch YouTube on. It's where all my social media kind of stuff is on. Whereas this is my purely work device. I don't really do much even YouTube stuff on the ink tablets. Not all that much, little bits, but not a huge amount. I do my professional teaching stuff on the ink tablets, and it does keep things kind of separate. So there's a kind of interesting thing. This would be a good versus, wouldn't it? And this super simple device is really intentional, whereas this thing, I'd need to really be careful to use that do not disturb thing to stop myself getting notifications all the time and taking myself out. And I'm quite a disciplined person, really. I don't really need the kind of like lockdown app. I don't need to put my phone in another room when I'm working. I'm quite good at just ignoring it. But I'm also aware that I do go down these kind of rabbit holes. And Cal really discussed quite a lot. Cal Newport in Digital Minimalism. He discussed this kind of like feeling of just getting sucked in by the kind of clickbait constantly, and I know that I am susceptible to that, even though I can focus for long periods without needing help to do that. I know that when I do pick it up, then I do go down those rabbit holes, like most of us do, I think. Maybe I just need to think about what's on my home pages to make sure that I'm putting things which I'm intending to use rather than just going straight and going off on one down some kind of rabbit hole. Like, what did I saw a Google article, Google recommendation of like aerial photos of Peterborough from the kind of 70s, and it's like, Peterborough's my hometown, and so I was like, I want to find this out, and then I've realized like 5 minutes later, that's a waste of time. It was kind of scratched an itch, but it was an itch that wasn't there before I even saw that picture, so why bother? Okay. The thing is that, like, do I need to use this for this purpose? And maybe I should just have a smaller phone here, and maybe I should rely on the e-ink. Maybe an e-ink phone is what I'll once again conclude is the thing that we all kind of want. And at the same time, we're kind of thinking, well, let's keep our devices connected in a certain way. And then we had the Books Palmer, great device, and lots of people very excited about the Books Palmer. Absolutely great thing, got an e-ink phone size thing. And the complaint about it was not connected enough. We want it to be mobile connected. We always want to be connected all the time. I think we're kind of afraid, aren't we? We've grown up with our mobile phones, like almost afraid of being out of touch, of not being able to get in contact. What if there's an emergency all of a sudden? We need to be connected all the time, and we don't really need to be. It's actually the tech that's demanding our attention. Is actually that, as Cal puts it, that the companies have actually engineered their apps and engineered their phones to be grabbing our attention. This nuisance thing of some apps where you press the home button, it doesn't take you home, it takes you home in that app, and then you have to press home again to get actually out of the app. TikTok, for instance, just shows you another TikTok when you press home rather than taking you out of the app. You get sucked in again. And there are whole meetings where people are planning how to take our time and keep our attention. It's fascinating. I'm aware also I'm doing a little bit of it now, and I'm trying to keep your attention rather than making you just scroll off to something else. And now that I've said that, you're probably thinking to yourself, maybe I have just wasted an hour. watching this guy prattle on about e-ink tablets. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe I should bite the bullet and just go ahead and see if I can use this for work here. I also think that, if I use it for work, then I'm going to end up thinking, oh yeah, that's great. I can put my work email on it, and I can actually have the badged work profile apps, just like I have on the e-ink tablets there. Will I end up just being totally always connected to work on this thing? And also the badged apps are great because you can flick down from the notifications and you can turn off work profile at night. But I think that I would just be going into it. I think that I would just be something where this device didn't become my little kind of personal life leisure time thing and did become a work device that constantly connected me to work. Fascinating. You've made some really good points here as well. I will get to them in just a moment. And the moment you kind of install that work email on your phone, you just sign away your private life, don't you? And your phone just keeps you tied to your job 24/7. And I find balance in using the e-ink. It keeps me connected without that kind of, over-exciting. It's not over-stimulating. And okay, I can do things like I can use dual SIM here on the smartphone. Maybe I can have a work phone number and my own phone number, and sort of switch between modes there as well. But for me, having the e-ink device there, you think about what this device is, the digital nomad, what it entices you to do, just to go and write and be present and be thoughtful. That's what I like about this. And a phone that can do that, not only just for work, but a phone that can be that kind of beacon. I think that's where we're headed. I think we will find that we have two interactions with technology in the future. We'll have digital paper type devices, and we'll have immersive type devices. And I think we'll be saying goodbye to this type of device sort of sooner than we'll say goodbye to this type of device, because this will sit alongside something where you put on a screen or you watch a big screen and you get immersed in technology. And you'll make the choice when to be immersed and when not to be immersed. Fascinating. It's not just about avoiding distractions when you go over to an e-ink tablet. It's about reclaiming your time and reclaiming your focus. And whether that's reading or jotting down ideas, planning my day, e-ink has for me been a game changer. Didn't know it was going to be such a big deal, but it really has changed everything. It really has changed everything. I cannot recommend e-ink tablets enough. So what do you think? Shall I go ahead and do this? It's fascinating. If you're curious about integrating e-ink into your workflow, I've got loads more videos of those. And what I should say to you, press the like button and leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you can't think of anything to write, just write thanks or some simple response just to get those metrics up so this video can spread to more people. But one of the titles of one of the chapters or one of the sections in Cal's book, Digital Minimalism, is don't press the like button, because it's a low quality interaction. So instead, don't give me a simple comment, start a conversation. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about minimalism. Let me know what you think about these devices. And yeah, let's start a conversation. So I'll just on that note, I will have a little look through your chat just now. Thank you very, very much for spending the time and hanging out with me. It's great just to be able to do this and have people engage with me. So thank you very, very much. Let's go back to where we start. People would watch it. That's great. Interesting. People say, yeah, Supernote's going to win between this and the Samsung. Yeah, but will it really? Because that's an interesting question. Will it really? Because I would still be using this like every day. And, currently I'm using this and this. And if I go to just the smartphone, just the Fold, then all of a sudden, does it win? If I can actually do everything on here, and if I can manage myself so I'm not just constantly being distracted by notifications and things, then does it win? Objectively, I don't know. Let's find out, shall we? I'll make that one of my things in spring, one of my video things in spring. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Yeah, I try and think very carefully what I'm doing. Yeah, pros and cons. Yeah, so try and keep it very analytic. Yeah, so again, that's a good idea. I'll maybe think about different note-taking apps that are available on there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, no, absolutely. It's brilliant. No, I often read Kindle books to my kids on the ink tablets. Yeah, it's great. Um, yeah, it is true. Like an email bongs up and you just check it. Yeah, so I say I am a disciplined person. If it's got this cover on it, luckily, so it just sits there. You can sometimes see when there's a notification, it doesn't buzz or anything. I don't have any sound or anything on generally. You sometimes see a little sliver of light, and it's kind of like you see that little sliver of light in the corner. And I don't want to check that. So like actually having it closed is kind of good enough for me, really, to do that. That's exactly my point, James. Yeah, sorry, and that's it. Like, so I'm doing the exact things because that's how this attention economy suddenly works. So hands up if you've been clickbaited. Hopefully it did give you value, and hopefully it's helped you make a decision as it's intended to on which e-ink tablet might suit you. But apologies if you feel clickbaited. Uh, yeah, gear acquisitions syndrome. If you're not sure about Scott's gas, there need good handwriting recognition, strong PDF, micro MS 365 markup capabilities. No F3C. Yeah, so you don't need that. If you need Microsoft 365, you need the Note F3C or the Tab Ultra C Pro, in my opinion. At this point, you need one of the color books devices. They're the best for interacting with Microsoft things. I do that all the time. Yeah, good. Lots of notes already for you, teenage son. Glad to hear it. I think wait for the A5X2. That'll last you longer at this point. Yeah. Yeah, Palmer with a pen replaced little mini notebooks, absolutely. Yeah, Scott says, yeah, YouTube Shorts are real time sync. I wish I could switch them off as a premium subscriber. Yeah, me too. Yeah, YouTube Premium is great, isn't it? YouTube Premium is great. Whenever I watch a video that's not on Premium, I'm like, oh no. The funniest thing is when we have whole school training and they want to show a YouTube video and it's like there's an M&M's advert for 5 seconds, like really loud and really trying to sell everybody in this like school auditorium suites, and then it's like back to the normal video, which is talking about good pedagogy and good practice in the classrooms. It's just like I'm just so glad in my classroom if I do choose to show a YouTube video. It's normally one of my old physics videos, but they don't have to sit through adverts or be interrupted like halfway through a video with an advert or something like that. But I think definitely Premium for the win, everyone. We've got to have adverts, otherwise there'd be no free content really in the world. But if the adverts annoy you, then Premium is worth it, in my opinion. One device for everything is no longer my quest, rather a low distraction device and a communication device. Yeah, that's something I too have been thinking about. Absolutely, yeah. That's it. My device for focus, my device for getting in contact with people, family and friends. Just didn't love it. I mean, I tried it, but just didn't love it. It just, I think it was just because I could do all the things. The appeal of it is that it's small and can't do a lot, but the appeal of it is that you can still do all of the things on it. So it's a really kind of strange phone in that sense. It's got these kind of two faces to it. You want it because then you can still do the things, but you want it because it's so small that you'll treat it like a minimalist phone. It's kind of like, I think in digital minimalism, he stresses that you shouldn't trust yourself so much. You shouldn't trust yourself. You need to go all in. You need to just not take the phone out with you, not buy a smaller phone, and this is one thing that I said last time is sometimes solving your problem is not going to be like buying another thing. And I think that's what I'd kind of had in mind. Like I'll buy this small phone and all of a sudden I won't want to interact with my phone so much because it won't be this amazing YouTube phone. I mean, this is a great phone for watching YouTube videos on. Absolutely brilliant. But that phone was like, I didn't watch YouTube videos on it, actually, to be fair, but I did when I got in the house. I still went and picked up this or a tablet or something and watched YouTube videos on that. Interesting. Yeah, so the Rabbit R1 was the interesting thing coming out of CES, wasn't it? Really interesting. It's not very expensive as well. So it's basically you're interacting with it and it's interacting with apps on your behalf. And it's kind of like, have my rabbit talk to your rabbit will be the kind of future. Have my robot talk to your robot. Yeah, I don't. The distraction free is wrongly sold, in my opinion. It's not distraction free so much as it's what it is it's focus. So some devices help you focus, and others don't. And the distraction free idea is that it really is about focus. It's about devices that help you focus, that you can focus with. Really good. I'm not sure what we're agreeing with that. Yeah, I like the long battery life, but it seems gone is the day if we want this. My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so all tech, yeah, good. I'm expanding those things out. You saw this drawing earlier on, this Van Gogh drawing that I did. It was in the, well, I'm going to make a drawing on e-ink video soon. Yeah, a bit more of an exploration with that. Yeah. Yeah, and eventually you'll get what's called decision fatigue, right? And you end up not buying anything. No, books, devices, I've never had one crack or anything like that. Oh, it's good clickbait, ethical clickbait. Ethical clickbait is what we say. So enticing you and then actually providing you the value that I say. The best keyboard case is the Tab Ultra C Pro, in my opinion, at this point. Yeah, they do. They're fine on black and white, but yeah, if you know you need to use apps all the time, then go ahead and get a color, in my opinion. Yeah, Hisense, but they're mainly aimed at the kind of Eastern markets, not the Western one. So I think you do get into a few little issues there, but I haven't tried one. I do want to. Yeah, distraction-free phones, expensive. Fascinating, yeah. Yeah, interesting. Thanks for that. Block Origin is great for blocking YouTube ads. I've not tried that. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, that's coming. Watch this space on that one. Unblock Origin, thank you. Yep. I think as well, there's something you can do in Android that I think it kind of is going to become a must, is like pick which apps can send you notifications and which can't. And if you go ahead and do that, then that's really good. Yeah, so a dumbed down iPhone is a kind of another trend that's going on at the minute, isn't it? I've seen a couple of videos with that. It was like, just consider which apps you do want. You probably need Google Maps. You need some, you need your wife to be able to text you in case the kids are ill or whatever and you need to pick them up. All those things. Apple Watch cellular for when you're out and about. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think that's probably a thing about that Jelly phone as well. Is actually a cellular smartwatch is probably better than the Jelly phone for doing what I was trying to do. So maybe that's where I need to get going. Good evening to you. And we haven't got any news particularly, but I think it'll be 2025 now. Okay. I said it earlier. I think it'll be 2025 for the A5 Slim, and I think it will be probably autumn for the A4X. I think they're going to call it the A4X2 just to keep it in line with the other ones. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you've got any more book recommendations in the chat, and I'll see you again soon.